After change the title of the HTML file, in the next step we want to change the content of the HTML file, which means I will put some web element inside the body part. But the first practice, I just only put the pure text in between the body part. You can put the text inside the paragraph tag, or you can just type the text, pure text inside the body part or inside body part. Both way is okay, but if you want to change the style, if you want to change the style of the text, you have to put. It will be better to put in between the p tag, which means the text paragraph tag. I will show you later, but it's also fine if you just want to put some text inside HTML file. You can directly type the text. You don't need to use any other text here. But if you want to change style, you put inside some other text will be better. But it is not necessary. You could only type the text here. It's okay. It's fine. Even though you want to change the style of this text, we will have some a little bit more complex way if we don't use the p tag, paragraph tag. If we only use the text here, we can also change the style of this text but we need to add some special tag at that moment. Okay, so I will explain this in the future when we talk about the CSS rule. But currently, I just want to show we can directly to type the text here. Okay, to type text here and inside the body part, and it will display on the screen. But please note that when you press the enter key in the Sublime Text, it will not cause any change. It will cause any break line effect in the HTML file. It will only put one space if you press the enter to change to new line, but it will display in the same line in HTML file because HTML file don't understand the enter key. We have to use some special tag to tell the browser I want to break line here. But if you just type press the enter key in the text editor, or press many space key in the text editor, it won't affect the result because the HTML file only record one space. When you press the enter or when you press a lot of space bar, it will only record one space. I will give you some example later about this. Okay, so let's go back to the Sublime Text. Okay, this is the previous example. So I go back to the index and then I press some text in between the body part. Okay, I type this. This is my first web page again, and let's take a look about the result. Control S. Remember to save the file. Please remember to save the file before you take a look about the result. So I go back to this is my first web page, and then I use this refresh the file. You will see this is my first web page without any style because I don't tell you about how to change the style. So it is the original one. Okay, so this is my first web page, and then we take a look about if I press a lot of space bar here and type something else. Okay, so I press many spacebar between the page and the thing. So, but let's take a look about the result. Control S. You can refresh this. So you will see only one space here. Okay, so if you want to put the space, you need to use some special tag. I will explain it in the later in the next section. Okay, but in this moment, I just want to tell you that if you press many space here, but after the interpretation of the browser, it will only one space display on the screen. Okay, so even I press enter to change another line, but you won't see Control S. Please remember save. Please remember to save the file before you change the you refresh browse, or otherwise you will see it's very strange. Nothing happened. Nothing happened here. If you don't save it before, you will confused. Is it the same one or the one I have already changed? So please remember to save a new file, Control S, and then press the refresh again. You will see nothing because the interpreter, the browser, when the browser interpret the HTML file, it will ignore the text editing symbol. So the change to the new line will be ignored. It is not a HTML tag, so it will ignore this text, this space, or this symbol. So it will not change to the new line. If you want to change to the new line, you have to use the BR tag. BR tag. I will explain it in next section. Okay, so this is I just want to tell you that in the text editor, you don't need to break to new line, or you don't need to press many spacebar because it will not affect the result. So if you want to add some space between the word or between the alphabet, you need to use some special tag to tell the browser I want to put a space here. Otherwise, it will reduce the space into only one space. If you have continuous space, it will reduce all space into one. So if you press a lot of space here before the things, it will nothing here because it will only reduce to one space. Control S save to see it's the same. Okay, so there is no space and no break to new line. So if you want to add a space, you have to use the HTML tag to tell the browser I want to put a space here. If you want to break to a new line, you also need to put a tag to tell the browser I want to break to a new line in this place. Okay, so in the text editor, only text, only alphabet will be considered to display on the screen. Okay, so please remember that you can try to add some spaces or some break to the new line and to see what happened in the result. Okay, so please practice about it. But before you practice this, I will explain another concept first. In this case, I use the English word here. But if I use Chinese character or you can use your own language or your own language. But maybe it can be displayed normally in your computer. Okay, but if you upload to the web server, it may not display correctly because you don't identify the way to the encoding method. So we need to write some information in the head part to tell the browser which kind of encoder I want to use. That which make your web page can display correctly, even upload to the web server. Okay, so if you want to use all page use English, it's okay. You don't need to identify the encoding method. But if you want to use some special character, something like your language or Chinese, or are using the Chinese or using some other language, you need to identify the encoder first. So let's take a look about how to set the encoding method. In the head part, we back to the head part because this is the information to tell the browser which kind of encoder I want to use, the character set I want to use. So use the meta. Meta means the metadata of this web page, and the attribute is character set, or is character set. So the character set, we use the UTF-8. we can set the character set to UTF-8, which means you can use the every code. It is a universal code, so you can use every code. If I want to use Chinese character, if you want to use the language in your country, it's okay because they are encoded in the UTF-8 format, in the UTF-8 encoder method. Okay, so please set this. If you want to use the language other than the character other than the English alphabet, other than English, you need to use some special character in your language or in some other language. You need to identify the character set as UTF-8. So please remember to add this line into your web page, which make your character can be displayed normally, correctly, even you upload the file to the web server. I repeat it again. In your computer, if you don't have this character set, it can be displayed on your computer normally because your computer is the same language set in your country. But if you upload the file to the HTML or to the web server, it may not display correctly, even in the same country. My student use the Chinese character, and when they upload the file to my web server, it cannot be detected normally because they don't understand which kind of language you want to use. So please set the metadata character set in the head part to make sure your special character can be displayed correctly when you upload the file to the web server. Okay, so please practice about the body part, and please remember to add the character set. It will be a good. It will be good because you don't know whether you will use the special character or not. So I suggest you to put this line, the fifth line, in every web page you design. It will be more safe if you sometimes use some special character. You can make sure it can be displayed normally. Okay, so please practice about this. You can write some text in the body part and to see the result when it display on the browser. Okay, so please practice about this.